Fidget cube? No. Paper fidget cube. Hi, my name is Kara, and to my knowledge, I've created the world's first functional template-based fidget cube made entirely out of paper. The templates are available in multiple different colors and for free on my Linktree. You can customize however you want. The possibilities are endless. I also have an assortment of other really cool origami and craft tutorials, so if you're into that kind of thing, totally go check those out. But for the time being, let's make a fidget cube. Grab the last page of the template. We're gonna start by scoring all the dotted lines with a dead pen. And this is just gonna make our folding a lot easier and cleaner later on. Next, you're gonna go ahead and cut that out. My secret weapon for cutting out the small holes is eyebrow scissors. If you don't have an X-Acto knife or you just don't feel comfortable using one, these work just fine. Next, you're gonna fold along all the dotted lines that you've already scored, and just like that, you're done with the skin of the fidget cube. Check out part 2 to learn how to make the texture. How to make a functional fidget cube out of paper, part 2. Now that we've got the skin of the fidget cube, we're gonna start on the texture. Locate the texture on your template, score along the dotted lines, and cut the pieces out. You can fold the white piece in half to help you cut the slits. Once you finish, fold along the dotted lines of the other piece, and it should look something like this. Next, we're gonna fold those blue parts up into little mountains. This is to get it into the memory of the paper. Now this next part is a bit tedious. We're going to weave the slip through the slits of the white piece. Make sure to be gluing on all the gray pieces and allow all of the mountain pieces to stick out so that you create that texture. And from there, you're just gonna keep gluing where needed and weave all the pieces in and out. Yes, it's very tedious, but eventually you'll end up with something that looks a little bit like this. You can also neaten it up a little bit with a toothpick before gluing it to the skin of the fidget cube. And again, you can tidy that up with a toothpick. Now that you've made the texture, go ahead and check out part 3 to make the pop socket. How to make a fidget cube out of paper, part 3. On the template, locate the paper pop socket, score the dotted lines, and cut the bold lines. Don't forget the slits, and then we're gonna start folding the socket. We're gonna make all of the shallow lines mountain folds. We're gonna do that to all of them all the way down. And then these more steep folds we're going to make into valley folds. And again, we're gonna do that all the way across the length. It should look something like this before we curl it up into a cylinder and begin to reinforce those folds that we just made until it collapses into a little pop socket. Now this part is optional, but you're gonna fold the corners into the center and weave them together into a little pinwheel. It won't go all the way around, so you will have to undo it and re-weave it together. And at this point, you should have a functional pop socket, and you can pop it into the slits that you made earlier, glue it into place, and then again, glue it into the skin of the fidget cube. And that's how you make the pop socket. Go ahead and check out part 4 to make the slider. How to make a functional fidget cube out of paper, part 4. Locate the slider on the template, score the dotted lines, and cut the bold lines. I like to leave a bit of slack on the ends here, and that's because we're going to be weaving them through this slit here. Fold that up and glue the gray pieces before rather tediously trying to weave those pieces through the slit with tweezers. You can use your tweezers to clamp the pieces into place. It'll look something like this, and then you can go ahead and prep that black strip so that you can wrap it around as a little border. Then grab the skin, placing the slider within the slot. At this point, you can just glue the little square on to keep it in place, but I like to go the extra step and cut another slit, weave it through for extra strength, and pop a little piece of tape on top. And then you can glue that color strip underneath to complete your slider. And now that you've made the slider, go ahead and check out part 5 to make the opening flower. How to make a functional fidget cube out of paper, part 5. Locate the opening flower on the template, score, and cut. Next, you're gonna fold the lines you scored on the orange pieces like so. Once you have all of those done, you can move on to the black pieces. They're very similar, and make sure that you don't lose any of them in the process. Start gluing the pieces. The rule of thumb here is to glue to the last flap, so you keep rotating and gluing until you have a full flower. And then we're gonna move on to the black pieces. This part's pretty intuitive. Just create little pyramids and just repeat that on all sides. Now you might notice that it's a little bit loose and it won't open very well. So I recommend grabbing some tape and just plastering the whole thing with tape. Trust me, I've tried a bunch of stuff, this works. And then we're gonna glue that piece into the pentagon, just like that, and then we're gonna glue it into the skin of the fidget cube, and just like that, you have your opening flower. Check out part 6 to make the buttons. How to make a functional fidget cube out of paper, part 6. Now that we've finished the outer layer, let's work on the inner mechanics. Score and cut, and we're gonna save these guys for later. We're gonna start with this box with the bigger squares. From here, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just fold along all the dotted lines, and we're gonna turn this into a little box shape and glue into a permanent box shape. Grab the strip that matches the width of the square, and we're going to fold all of those tabs back and turn it into a little box. Voila! And then we are simply going to tuck those tabs in and tuck the entire box into the bigger box. Do be aware of the orientation of the flaps. Glue those down. And you're essentially going to do the same thing for all of those, like that. Fun fact, this little part makes room for the opening kusudama. And now you're almost done with your fidget cube. Go check out the last part. How to make a functional fidget cube out of paper, part 7. We're almost done, guys. We just have to make the buttons. Start up by folding that white piece into a little box, but don't glue it just yet. Fold and glue the buttons like this, and then we're going to weave the ends through the slots. Once you have those secured with glue, then you can go ahead and make the other one, and finish by gluing together the center. From here you can start building the inner mechanism by stacking the blocks. Make sure to leave room for the opening kusudama with that hole in the center. From here you can start to glue the actual skin of the fidget cube. We're going to create a sort of shell so that we can insert the button mechanism and then seal it all together. And just like that, you have your very own functional paper fidget cube. I hope you had as much fun making it as I had designing it. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to share if you made it.